Ahoy! Hello everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. I can't do this. I can't do this. So, I guess we need to talk about when this came for us.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning?
When the Sea Came for Us is my dark YA fantasy that I started writing all the way back in 2017.
Working on a book called When the Sea Came for Us. It is a YA dark fantasy novel.
It was about a disabled girl who gets abducted by Marrow or mermaids and forced to join their training academy so she can, you know, fight with them and save the world. I started my channel around documenting the process of planning, outlining, writing, then later querying, trying to get an agent, shelving it when it failed, and went on to sell my other books. I've always loved the story though. I've always loved the characters, and one day I had a clear plate publishing wise. I had everything off where I needed to be and I had an off week, and I was like, during this little break intermission period, I should just make a goofy video where I turn my first failed novel into mermaid smut. Little did I know how this would get its hooks in me. I posted this video last month. It was super fun, and you guys saw me take this novel, reread it almost 10 years later. I told you guys how I would tear it apart, rewrite it, make it something that could be publishable in the adult romantasy category nowadays. We brainstormed some romantasy tropes. We looked up a romantasy synopsis on Goodreads. We brainstormed the plot and the characters and all of the fun machinations together. And I left off that video feeling very satisfied, feeling very happy to just have that video stand as a standalone and be its own thing and lay this baby to rest. That's a complete and utter lie. I was obsessed with this. After the camera stopped rolling, I went through and I essentially did a first draft of an outline for this entire book, just like had it done. By the time I even pressed upload on that video, I was a goner already. In that video, I was like, let's write this book together, let's brainstorm it together, give me all your ideas, and you guys came through. You had such amazing, like, piratey, cutthroat ideas. I loved them. I honestly want to write another book in an alternative universe that's just like an amalgamation of all of your ideas put together. But this just proves that I could never be a co-writer because I want to steer the helm, if you will. I took over and I did it by myself. I'm so sorry. But I wanted to do an update because so much has happened creatively wise with this story, and it's come so far since that first video, and I just kind of wanted to do like a chatty, goofy update with you guys about the state of this book, maybe even like what my writing is gonna look like the rest of the year. Because here's the thing, I have my goals right here in my planner. The only other writing goal that I needed to achieve this year was to finish draft one of some other project. I left it open-ended because I knew sometimes stories just take you by storm. That's what happened with Bitter Bones. I wasn't planning to write it and it just happened. Honestly, that's what happened with this. I was gonna write a terrible dystopian novel and then this poured out. So I'm always open-ended when it comes to what I'm gonna work on next. And the logical thing, well, I don't even know if it's logical. This is zany too, but the thing that I was going to do the first draft of was my Grandmother's Guide to High Stakes Adventuring. This is my adult, cozy D&D satire, ridiculous story about a grandma garden gnome who is writing a book about how to adventure when she's never gone on one herself, and then she gets caught up in an adventure. It's so fun, it's so zany. It kept me sane while writing Bitter Bones because that was like my side funsy project, and I love it so dearly, and I fully plan on it being something that I want to complete. Now, will anyone ever publish it? Who knows? Granny's a little bit off her rocker, and by granny I mean the entire idea of the book, so who knows? But now there's the possibility with the last 4 months of the year that I could do a really quick, crappy, down and dirty fast draft of this. Either story I choose, it's like fun, it's self-indulgent, right? Because the books that I'm working on publishing, you know, Bitter Bones, I'm waiting for copy edits. Project Pyro, I'm waiting for revisions from my agent. So it's kind of like whatever I work on the rest of the year is kind of just like fun. I can do what I want. Can I take this hat off? Are we okay with that? Oh gosh, no, maybe I should have left it on. And here's the thing, either one of these books I would be so fine with writing the rest of the year. I love them both and they're both so fun and such different parts of me. This is like dark and dramatic and fantasy and gritty, and Grandmother's Guide is just goofy and ridiculous, and they're equally both me. If I felt like being cuckoo bananas, I could draft them both at the same time. No. Delete that from the record. Absolutely not. But since I have been working on this outline, it has been so fun. You guys have been gatekeeping romance, okay? As a middle grade author, I don't do this. I mean, Bitter Bones, I have like the sprinklings of first crushes, and it was so cute and so fun. But this is fun. This is so fun. I can't believe I've never done this before. Like, love, what a concept. Especially with like romantic tropes that I like to read and other books, like forbidden love and like people potentially working on different sides of a war but like forced to come together, and they're like, ew, you're so cute, but like I'm supposed to hate you. Anyway, this video is all over the place. It's just a rambly, squealy situation, but I wanted to just chat with you guys today and talk about where I am, what I have with When the Sea Came For Us so far. Also share my mermaid nails. I bought myself this mermaid tail looking polish for the end of my 75 hard challenge as my reward. Also, my jewelry is very like sea looking related. So anyways, grab a bottle of rum and let's chat, girlies.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor?
I also have a pitch that I could share. It's not super great. It is a work in progress. I still feel like some of the parts are a little bit vague and some of the parts just aren't there yet. They're just aren't there yet. It's hard because I just wrote what I think is a really bomb pitch for Project Pyro, but I wrote that book already, so the voice is already so in my head that with this one, it's not because I haven't written it yet. So I just am like, ah, where's the voice, you know? Anyway, in a land ruled by gods who favor their monstrous firstborns, the marrow, humans cling to the fiendish goddess, the drowned mother, to protect them from the sea that consumes the world every 7 years. Well, all of the humans except the heretics. One such skeptic, Miera, always knew the extra bones that curl from her spine made her a target to the patrons of the drowned mother, who requires live offerings of those deemed too broken to be fed to the sea. What she never expected was that the one to try to sacrifice her would be her own brother. Brine in her lungs and a curse from the dark goddess stained to her skin, Miera escapes back to land. Not to run this time, but to take her revenge. After pleading the aid of the Oracle Keofi, the Marrow King's handsome yet forbidden bastard son, he cuts her a deal at knife point. If she agrees to help him fulfill a prophecy, he'll get her into the Suwari, an academy of elite Marrow warriors who are patron to the heathen war god and rival of the drowned mother. The plan is simple. Survive the academy and the trials, receive the god-touch powers she needs to kill the brother who betrayed her. But in the Suwari, humans are rare, ones with illnesses rarer. Classes alone can kill, and a murderer stalks the halls. And with each new trial, the siren song between her and the brooding oracle, her vows forbid her from, swells. Caught between the claws of monsters, the fury of gods, and the uncharted tides of desire, Miera must decide how much of herself and others she's willing to tithe to the sea on her path of vengeance. At least it's better than this. Go watch my old video where I read this. Oh my gosh, the pitch for this, cringe. First of all, I'm trying to think. So in my last update, at the very end of that video, I was running through what I have. I think first of all, I want to talk about Miera's curse, right? I was talking about at the end of that video how I wanted something more interesting.
My main character is cursed. So on this island of Peak, the ocean is cursed. The entire world is being consumed by this ocean that's just rising and rising and rising. And the whole thing is on her island, it's very secluded, so a lot of weird folklore has kind of taken place. They're all very superstitious, so no one goes in the sea. And if you go in the sea, because that's the domain of like the drowned god or whatever, and like, so if you touch the water at all, you're cursed. So of course my main character, when she was a child, fell into the sea and cursed her family.
In the video I just made, I talked about how wanting to make that a little bit more dynamic, because in the original draft, the curse was just kind of this like superstitious thing that the town said about her, but wasn't real. And in that video, I was like, let's make it real. Let's make her actually cursed. And her whole drive of the story is to break her curse. She's got to go to this Marrow Academy. She's got to be with this love interest because they're both going to help her somehow break her curse. And then brainstorming Lindsay was like, no baby, no, we gotta make this even darker, even more nasty, even more gritty. And now in the version I have, not only is she cursed, but Miera purposely enacted the curse on herself, knowing that there were going to be terrible consequences, that she was going to be this mess of a half-drowned entity person. She purposely dove into the sea to get cursed so that she could use this dark curse power to get revenge on someone who did something really bad in her past. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's the type of woman I want to write a story about right there. So I have Miera now as this like half drowned, half alive girl who's like, because of her curse, she's like always wet, always dripping water. Occasionally like brine or something like drips out of her mouth, and like I could see like little barnacles or something growing on her, and she has to like peel them off. Like we're not going full Davy Jones, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, but like a little bit. And my idea was that, okay, that's like the physical manifestations of her curse. What are her powers? Because she didn't just jump into the water to make herself look like a horror. She did this on purpose because she wanted something that that goddess curse could give her. And so she's going to use it to her advantage. And my first idea, I was like, oh, let's do like water bending. Like that's the obvious answer. Wrong. I want this dark. I want this gritty. So I have decided to make her powers like kind of creepy, like a little bit body horror, which fits perfect with what I'll talk about later. And that is how this book is really going to focus so much on like disability body horror-ish stuff, and like juxtapositioning that with like a romance and how both can happen at the same time. It's beautiful. Mwah! But I'm thinking when Miera uses her powers, her like eyes will go black, and maybe her like teeth will get a little bit sharp, and her skin will go a little bit like transparent, kind of like, you know, like those see-through deep sea fishy animals. And then I thought about Pirates of the Caribbean and how like Calypso in that story can like control the crabs, and I was like, ooh, what if she's like in a fight scene and she makes like someone's insides like burst with crabs, and like little tiny mini crabs just like spew out of their mouth, and that's how they die. I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of like creepy dark power that I want her to have. So she's got a lot of weird water stuff. I could totally see her like being able to make people like choke, or like, you know, flood their lungs with water, or like pool all of the water from their body or something, like some, I don't know, some really cool stuff. It's all still in the brainstorming phase. And then I took that note card, my note cards are over here, that I talked about in the first video. I had 2 note cards and I was like, oh, I love these. I want these to be their own novels one day, but I'm always willing to like mix and combine them with others, and like that's how I've gotten all of my stories so far. And this one, wherever it is, it was talking about a world in which humans bond with gods, and in what ways that could be, you know, going very wrong if your body maybe isn't to the standard that gods would want to use you as a vessel, like, you know, disabled people. And how if the gods were at war and the pantheon was like dying and there was all this stuff going on, like how that would look. So what I have so far is that someone in Miera's past betrayed her, and because of that she has cursed herself to try to get vengeance on them for whatever reason. In this world, the characters have a chance to bond with deities when they become of age. It happens, let's say, like every, I don't know, like 20 years or something like that, and the bond with the gods will imbue you with some of that god's power. And like this is very rigorously controlled by the rich. To bond with gods, you have to have the money to get into a fancy temple or a fancy academy. It is invite only, so like there could be hundreds of poor people who could bond with gods, but the rich are just like, no, we're gonna like keep our people in there with the same ideologies as us so we can keep controlling the world. Miera knows all of this. She knows that having this bonding power with gods could help her get her revenge, because as she's found out very quickly, the curse power isn't all that it's cracked up to be. It's actually way worse than the legend says, and she wants that off of her, but she also still wants her revenge. So she's like, I need to bond with a god, and specifically, I need to bond with the god who is the enemy of the god who cursed me. But being cursed and poor, she's like, I never will have an opportunity to get chosen to bond with a god, especially since the enemy of the main goddess, the one who cursed me, is heretical. You could die for wanting to bond with him. And Miera's like, no biggie, I'll do it, it's cool. Meanwhile, in the Marrow world, which Marrows and humans kind of like tentatively coexist on this planet, the Marrows are favored by the gods. The gods are like, they're our first children, we like them way better than the humans are eh. So if they're gonna bond with someone, it's more likely to be a Marrow. Our love interest, Keofi, has been raised in this cult of the war god. He doesn't have a name yet, but he's been raised in this cult of the war god, which even among Marrows is the heretic god. Like everybody worships the drowned mother. She's like the main one, but she's like the evil one who cursed Miera and like doesn't like disabled people. But Keofi is part of this cult that worships the war god, and because they're like this elite warrior academy bonded with this heretic god, they have this skill set and this power that no one else does. So he's gonna get this vision, and this vision is gonna be like, hey boo boo, there is this human, this curse-touched goopy girl who you need to go seek out, because she is gonna save, she's gonna save the world, you better go find her. And so he sets off to find her. At the same time, Miera is finding her own way to do an illicit bonding ceremony with this heretic war god rival of the one that cursed her. So Miera's doing the bonding ceremony. She's talking to the war god. She's like, hey, I'll be your patron. You should totally imbue me with power. And he's like, I'm a war god. Like, why would I want you and your weird ass bones and your weird ass body? Like, you know, he's like, what can you do for me? And during the conversation, she's gonna be like showing her tenacity. She's like, this doesn't stop me. Like, I'll burn down the world, just watch. And in the end, the war god has his own like little machinations going on, because the gods are up here playing like 5D chess and all of the people down here are playing checkers. And so he's like, okay, sure, let's do it. Well, something goes wrong during the bonding ceremony. Another god maybe comes in and is just like, it messes it all up. So Miera is like, oh my gosh, like I still feel cursed. I still feel very achy and very disabled. Like, why am I feeling the way that I'm feeling? Because I'm also going to be playing with the whole thing of like magic curing disability throughout the story. Like, Miera very much so wants to be cured, but she's not. And she's like, what the heck? Like, that was supposed to be the plan. Something went wrong. I feel like the war god's powers like aren't fully there. I'm still cursed. I'm still disabled. What is happening? And the moment that she's waking and realizing all of this, she looks up and Keofi's there and he's like, you're the prophesized one. Hey girl, how's it going? And she's like, slit his throat. Like, who are you? Like, you're a marrow, get out of here. So they get into a big fight. But you know, it's like romantacy. So they've got to be like, oh, but he's so cute. They need to do like a little fight scene where they end up where he's like on top of her and they do that like sexy staring into each other's eyes, breathing into each other's faces while they've got like knives to each other's throat or something, whatever that trope is. I love it. Anyway, so he's gonna cut her a deal. He's gonna be like, hey girl, come back with me to the academy. I know you need to save my people, and if you do, I'll help you figure out the war god stuff, because that's what our cult is all about, the war god stuff. Like, we can help you with that. Also, if you like survive the school and stuff and help me with making my prophecy by going to the school, you can get like untold powers from the war god, like next level war god powers. And Miera, who needs that, who needs her curse broken, and who really needs this power so she can get her revenge, is like, grab my backpack, guess I'm going to school. Oh my god, is this story dumb? I don't care, I love it so much. So anyway, that's like the inciting incident. That's leading up everything to it. I hope I explained everything. I probably left out a ton of world building and you guys are like, what's happening? Fair. Go watch the first video, maybe I explained it there. But from there, we have the two of them getting to school. And like Miera's whole thing is like survive school, get through the 3 academic trials that they have there. And if she can pass all that and be like head of her class, then she will get the opportunity to commune with the war god again, because she hasn't been able to do that. So she's like, I'll commune with him. We'll figure out what's happening. We'll fix the bond. We'll get rid of my curse. Everything will be good. And then I can go get my revenge on the person who ruined my life and the god that he serves. But like, of course, it's not gonna be that easy, because like, you know, the classes are gotta kill people, you know, and like there has to be like a murderer running around. So like there's gonna be murderers happening. Of course, the love interest is gonna have like his own machinations happening, and there's gonna be like a secret conspiracy plot because it's me. Oh, and if you guys remember Kiernan from the previous video, her like betrothed at home, I found some really great ways to tie him into the plot here too. So that has been really fun. We have some like love triangle tension happening. And you know, Keofi he's a marrow. He's gotta help Miera, who's like the only human at the academy, first to like make sure the other marrows don't like kill her, because like while humans and marrows can exist side by side, there's like a lot of hatred there and a lot of history, so like they don't like her being there. So he's like her tutor, her little handler, and like takes her around all of her classes. And like also because she's from the human world and they can't go into the sea, she's never learned how to swim, and now she's like at marrow training camp. So he's gotta give her swim lessons. But yeah, it's been really fun, and I've had such a good time adding in like the mystery subplot. That's been like one of my favorite parts, surprisingly, is just like weaving it in, and it works so well with the tension of her being human and the rest of the marrow, because I'm like, oh, if she gets in a fight with someone and then that person ends up dead, like it's gonna look like she did it, and that's great tension right there. Oh, and I didn't even mention, so to get in the school and to be like an acolyte of this war god, like he's really stringent with his followers, right? And he's like, yeah, you're gonna have to take vows to become part of this institution if you want to take this seriously. And one of them is going to be like an unentanglement vow, which basically means like, I am your god, I'm your everything. You don't need to love anyone else romantically, physically, nothing. Like, I am your everything. So basically it's a celibacy vow, and that just adds so much tension because Miera and Keofi are gonna like slowly start falling in love as the story goes along, but they can't be together. They can't be together or else they die. The war god is like, nope. love it. It's so fun playing with this book and playing with the tropes because everything that I've talked about with you guys, like I don't feel like any one of the tropes or any one of the things that I'm mentioning are necessarily like unheard of or completely original. Like they're tropes. Everything is a trope, but I'm finding that playing with them and making them your own and kind of twisting them in ways you haven't seen before, or adding in a new perspective that maybe hasn't been seen before, like, you know, a disabled girl with like a bone disease having to become a warrior mermaid and like taking down the gods. Like, I mean, how many stories have you read about a human trying to take down the gods? But like, I don't think I've ever read a story about a disabled girl doing it. So like, that's exciting. Maybe it is out there. I'd love to read it if it is. But like doing my own version of things that are like tried and true tropes are just, it's just fun. I'm also like learning how to write romance and it's been so fun. One of my critique partners is so skilled at this and she's been like reading for me and like helping with like the outline and all this stuff, and it's just so fun. It's so cute. I love putting in like little quirks and things like that. Like I love my Marrow love interest not understanding human stuff. Like it's giving Mr. Weasley like being really excited about human stuff, which is really giving Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Like I totally need to have a scene in there where, since Mira is like kind of already engaged to the guy at home but it like doesn't want to be, you know, he sees the ring on her finger and he's like, oh, that's pretty, what does that mean? Is that something in human culture that means something? And she's like, no, not at all. Anyway, been going on a long time about this book, but I'm just having fun. Can you tell that I'm having so much fun, that I'm so excited, that this is giving me life in a way that like writing's just been lacking for a little bit? I don't know. So what's next for this project? I truly don't know. I feel like I definitely want to perfect my pitch a little bit better, and I want to do some more brainstorming with my critique partner and just kind of have fun with it and like live in this feeling right now. You know, I'm waiting on edits from both my agent for the thriller and from my editor for the middle grade horror, and it's just kind of like I'm in limbo, and this is the perfect fun project just to do in the meantime. If something comes up publishing wise and I have to go back and work on another project, I still would like to think that this is going to be my funsy side project for right now. Of course, with Grandmother's Guide too, I'll probably dip in and out depending on which one I'm more in the mood for. But I like the idea of this just being like a little fun side thing for me, just to keep me happy and full of serotonin. And you know, publishing is hard, writing is hard. It's so important to have something that just gets you through the hard days. And if that means mermaid smut, it means mermaid smut. The thing is, I really do need to decide though if this is something I'm drafting, because I only have 4 months left of the year and I do plan to complete my goal of having a first draft of another project. And honestly, it's at the same place that Grandmother's Guide is right now. I mean, essentially, I'm only 4 chapters into Grandmother's Guide, which is essentially nothing when it's first drafty. I do feel like this book would be shorter to first draft. Grandmother's Guide is a standalone high fantasy, so I feel like it is going to be a bit more chunky, whereas I feel like I would pitch this as like a standalone with series potential. So it's not the full complete story, so I don't have to make it, I don't have to jam pack everything in one book. Who knows? Anyway, this was a very self-indulgent video. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. Oh, we have a sea urchin that has come to join us.
Hey, yo. You smell like Doritos.
Walk the plank, you scallywag. Thank you guys so much for your kind words on the first video. It just gave me so much life. I had so much fun chatting with you. It was so fun seeing you guys who remember and have been here the whole time. Like when I was working on When the Sea Came For Us, the first version, that was just incredible. It made me so happy. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't ordered the Oz or the Glass Witch yet, I mean, it's getting to be spooky season. 'Tis time. Order links are always down below. You can also join the Patreon and hang out with me all the time. But anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching and putting up with my nonsense. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!